a such a need that's coming at you. Big bun, 300% free. Big bun, garbage pile of the day. Big bun, give the teacher them pay. Big bun, I see corruption fee. Big bun, mash down the people them out. Big bun, every day appear arms out. Big bun, appear money them a thief. Big bun, and them a sell out the beach. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy Kenyan, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in a state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent, it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone.
I truly believe our political system needs some fixing. Too much you hear about corrupt politicians and nothing happen. Too much you hear about politicians who take away poor people money and none of them reach in jail. And to the young people at home or wherever you are, and to all Jamaicans, I have one question for you. Take a look at your communities. Take a look at the sliding dollar. Take a look at the failing healthcare and ask yourselves, where is the progress? Where is the progress that this arrogant and disrespectful government keeps talking about?
This is Global TV election campaign coverage. This is Global TV.
Where is the progress that this disrespectful and callous government is talking about? Where is the progress after 8 years? Good evening and welcome to Global Television. Thank you for joining us. It is another of our program, Jamaica Decide 2024. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Thanks to those on the X, on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Good evening and welcome. I have a few ramblings to do tonight, but you would expect that Delroy Chuck is the centerpiece. Anthony R., good evening and welcome. Debbie Jervis, good evening and welcome. Arlene Forrest, good evening and welcome. Beat and Teach, good evening and welcome. How are you? Good evening to Natalia Freeman, good evening and welcome. Andrea Joan Hamilton Wilson, good evening and welcome. Good evening, Sandra Ellis, good evening and welcome. Good evening, thank you for joining us. Who else is here? Michelle Lewis Wilson, good evening and welcome. Gloria Morris, good evening and welcome. Amazing Grace, good evening and welcome. In a Circle, good evening and welcome. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Sunshine, good evening and welcome. Good evening to you all. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. Shauna Smith, good evening and welcome. Brittany Lyon, long time no see. Good evening and welcome. Cynthia B, good evening and welcome. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. Elijah B, good evening and welcome. Leroy Henry, good evening and welcome. Florence Hamilton, good evening and welcome. Full Swing, good evening and welcome. Good evening. Joan Brown, good evening and welcome. Verona Ebanks, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. So all of you on the live and in the chat, good evening and welcome. Delroy Chuck said, them friend can manage. The Gleaner editorial is saying, no, you're just taking out the tooth of the dog and let it loose. That's all you've done, Delroy Chuck. That's what the Gleaner editorial says. But, as you know, in the description area, Cousin Jamie, Cousin Myrna, Sister Faith, Brother Roger, and everybody, Cousin Primrose, good evening to you all. Thank you all. Good evening. Good evening. So you take out the teeth out of the dog and you send the dog after whoever. So you basically tell them, don't run, him don't bite. Him don't bite, him just bark. Barking dog, Delroy Chuck. That's what the Gleaner editorial is saying. Barking dog. Like up the live, please, people. If you're confused by how the process works, here is the graphic on the screen for you. Sim, how are you? Good evening and welcome. Here's the graphic on the screen for you on your right. If you just hit the X on your right here, then it will bring you to the screen on your left. And if you just hit the thumbs up, then once you've done that, you can just hit where it says chat publicly and it takes you right back to the live chat. So please give us some like and some shares, please, so we can explain to everyone tonight how much Delroy Chuck is lying and is trying to deceive them and pulling a wool over their eye. Lilith Foster, good evening and welcome. Good evening all, and welcome. Oh dear, James Roberts and his gunman friend. JLP candidate businessman make peace following altercation. I wonder if the Gleaner been subliminal here. Because the way how the Gleaner write, make far from peace, and I'm right this or the Gleaner. I'm wondering, James, Badman James, Badman James, vibing with the natural one. Good evening and welcome. Badman James, I am just wondering if it is really make peace or a pint gun pan and demand peace or buy peace like what you did by vote. Dean Jones and James Robertson. Florence Hamilton, good evening and welcome. Me love to ask question Dean Jones and James Roberts, all when them not make sense. But is this pint gun pan and demand peace? If you not damage him chances too much at the poll, is it buy peace? Like buy vote? Or is it really make peace? Dean Jones. Because the gentleman no look too happy. We don't know. Anthony R., good evening, good evening. Joan Brown, is it buy peace, make peace, or pint gun pan and demand peace? Because this man don't look enthusiastic about peacemaking. I only want to put on cat grin pan face. So it lead me to ask the question, James and Dean. Kenny Marshall, good evening and welcome. Is it buy peace, beg peace? Hey, Brittany Linus, they look like all the above. Is it buy peace, make peace, pint gun pan and demand peace? Because we have to question everything we want to do. Because to Andrew Holness and Nestor Morgan say we make it up, and we don't see what we see. So we have to question if it's by peace like by vote, if it make peace for make peace sake. Carla Williams, good evening and welcome. Veteran, where you them in a see you? Good evening and welcome. Is it by peace like by vote? Is it make peace for make peace sake? Or is it pint gun pan and demand peace? Like how you did pint gun and tell him say, yeah, and James Robertson with it too bad man about you. But if it's make peace, James. Matt Smith, good afternoon. Tweety Bird, good afternoon. Tweety Bird, I say it's by peace, you know. So nobody not seem like, much of them not seem like gonna believe. I'm not believing. When I don't believe James and Dean can make peace. But we over here, James and Dean, we want to know if I buy peace like buy vote. We want to know if I make peace for the sake of make peace, or we want to know if I pint gun pan and demand peace. And whichever one of the peace it is, Dean and James, have you compensated him for hurt and pain? Have you compensated him for the public embarrassment that you have caused to him? Make we know more. Make we know more. Maria Williams, good evening and welcome. Make we know more. Dean Jones, if we're not compensating for hurt and pain and the psychological damage. Freedom, good evening and welcome. D-I the jerk world, manners and respect. Sorry. So we want to know whether it is by peace like by vote, whether it make peace for make peace sake, or is it point gun pan and demand peace? Then we want to also know if you're compensating for the personal injury. How not have him pan daughter kick him and a draw him and a bite him like hyena. Or we want to know. Blendon, good evening and welcome. JJ, good evening and welcome. So we want to know if you're compensating for personal injury and if you're compensating for the psychological hurt and pain where you cause him by how when you cheat him in a crowd. So update with which one of the piece it is, James. By peace like by vote, pint gun pan and demand peace, or peace to make peace sake. And we want to know what else attached to the peace deal. Hold on, a criminal. We don't trust on them. We don't trust on them. But if I were Jamaicans, what I would do, I would go into the ribbon trade temporarily at this time of the year. Because the amount of ribbon where politicians go around go cut for fool on them, all pan unfinished road. Politicians go around go cut ribbon. Politicians wake up overnight, roll out of them bed, and find out say thousands of primary school children in the halfway tree area. Michelle Stewart, good evening and welcome. Thousands of children in the halfway tree area need a recreational park. So that is 1,000 families the government is trying to sway for their vote by rolling out of them bed, and all of a sudden, all of these hunky-dories, just a jack out of Santa bag, so. All these things just falling out of Santa bag. So, I would encourage some of you Jamaicans down there, once election call, start sell ribbon. Because the amount of ribbon, them a walk and cut unfinished things and all sorts just to fool you in order to garner your vote. All of the things that the Andrew Holness-led administration that have denied you the right to local government for the last 3 years. They have denied you the right. They have violated your constitutional right to choose your local government representative the last time you were given the choice. The chance was 2016. And he denied you that right ever since. And for the whole of that period, all of these things that the Andrew Holness local government is running around and doing. Have you seen them in the last 8 years? What have they done in your community for the last 8 years? What have they done? Beta teacher says 6 years, them denied. What have they done for your community since 2016 to now? What have they done? All these things that they're running around and doing. The Prime Minister apparently went to Portland today. Figure break ground, market which is years behind. But the Prime Minister just rolled out time bed and realized, Stacey, good evening. Me talk about it today, Stacey. You never depend today show. I'm going to play it back again because I promised to play it back tonight. Me talk about it. But me dey ask on the audience, because you know say me done so when it come to number. Me dey ask to explain to me what the Prime Minister mean. I'm going to play it short. Let me play it today too. You never there today. It play me hearing, but me don't understand him. So somebody who understand numbers and when I explain Noel Williams, Cleveland, and welcome, we'll have to explain what the Prime Minister means. But I'm going to play it. Hopefully some number understanding people are here. But the Prime Minister and him friend them and all of the local government wickets are just going around doing the things that they should have been doing in your community for the last how much a year they have been absent. Sometime last year, a young trainee police officer died trying to save another. His mother is saying ever since that happened, she's been pushed around by the hierarchy. Horace Chang, gunman Horace Chang, not well able to string a few sentences together, Anthony Anderson, and lying, thieving, corrupt Fitz Bailey, and the other set of hierarchies within the training college. None of you want to have that conversation. None of you want to have that conversation with Ryan J's mother about what compensation she's entitled to from the Jamaica Constabulary Force with regards to the death of her son. Remember when that young lady, is it Danique, went to the young lady with the liver transplant that died in December? You all never helped her when she needed the liver transplant. But you, criminal Horace Chang, when she died, you pledged your financial support to assist with the funeral. This young man died in training in your jurisdiction and not even respectable enough to have that conversation with the mother. You ever wonder why the pigs, you ever wonder why the pigs behave in the manner they do when you send them out in public untrained and underpaid.
Don't do no.
Yeah, man, yeah. A different approach now, yeah. Different approach now. Straight up. Different approach. Different approach.
They're going to deal with it better. Only can deal with it better. Oh, look at my neck. Look at my neck.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is an all-round failure. Is an overall failure from whatever angle you're looking at the Jamaica Constabulary Force. They've got nothing to feel gracious about. They have got nothing to feel proud about when it's not corruption, unable to control crime, violence and indiscipline in public, unable to protect and serve, scamming, thieving, gunman by night, even like Dr. Tufton, we're politician by day and a police beach by night, possibly because him and him businessman friend them, they make Jugs move with Pan Westmoreland Beach, and Jugs bus go around. So Dr. Tufton tie them up and carry them into police because either him or him businessman them lose a deal. Criminals. So the JCF is an all-round failure, whether in how they train their member, how they deploy them in their operational skills, how they fund them, how they remunerate them. A hungry man is an angry man. That's why they behave. So because the whole of them come out on the road hungry. Otherwise, them have to stick way up on the road and they start to get lunch money. But enough of the pigs. But you should. Everybody should be asking Dr. Chang and all of his Kumuchins below him, you need to speak to this mother. These criminals need to speak to this mother. Her child died in your all care. So stop ignoring her. She needs to be compensated. I don't know me and the church don't plant gungo line. I don't know me and the church don't plant gungo line. Naturally so. But this Holy Mother here, is a Jamaican. She is Jamaican. She's Archbishop of Dover. Dover is in Kent, one of the neighboring counties to England, if that's how you call it. So not far from me, when you go to France by boat, and up them yonder there, so you go take boat up at Dover. Them call it ferry or ship or whatever, me call it boat. But she's the Archbishop. Holy Mother is the Archbishop. For that, if anyone watch any of the political or royal protocols in this Britain here, you would have seen her quite a lot of time in royal protocol. I think she was a chaplain for Parliament at one point also. And she used to be involved in a lot of the ceremonials of Parliament and royal regalias. No, that's not Catholic. This is Church of England. This is Anglican. Anglican and Catholic is the same thing. Let me just do a quick explanation to you, for you. I don't want to stray, but Anglican and Catholic is the same thing. If you notice the practice in their tradition, everything in practice is the same. when Europe was ruled by the Holy Roman Empire, then everything was under Catholicism. But then the Pope of Rome and Henry VIII of England went to war because Henry was a whore and Henry married everybody, and Henry wife them couldn't breed, and he just want married and breed and all over the place. So him and the Pope went to Bangarang, and Henry stepped away from Catholicism and declared himself King of England and head of the Church of England, which is the Anglican Church. So that's the only difference between them, but otherwise everything Anglican and Catholic is the same. Henry just departed, but the whole tradition, practice, and everything remain the same. So it is very easy to get confused between Anglican and Catholic, but it's one of the same. It's just two different names. One is ruled by the King or Queen of England. The other is ruled by the Pope of Rome. That's just the difference. VM, good evening and welcome. However, this Archbishop of Kent is asking you Jamaicans at home something that the Holy Father, Kenneth Richards, something that Kenneth Richards should be telling the Jamaican people. Then one of his counterparts have to come from the war yonder and I tell Kenneth Richards people them say, you must demand. Deborah Cohen, good evening and welcome. You must demand good governance from your leaders. Reverend Rose Hudson Wilkin is saying, Jamaicans must demand good governance. Engage in governance, real engagement. She's asking you to call for for the government to have meaningful and real engagement with the people. She's asking the people to call to our government for good governance. This woman has lived in England forever. Father Kenneth Richard is right on the ground there in Kingston. Why Father Kenneth Richard mouth closed? Why Father Kenneth Richard can't preach these things to Jamaicans at home? Why Kenneth Richard, when him up on him pulpit, can't preach to the corruptness, the nepotism, and the downright cruelty of politicians? No, Kenneth Richards is their friend. Kenneth Richards would rather to platform them. Kenneth Richards would rather give them a place on the podium in order to come and brainwash you. So Ken get offering and them get vote. Ken get offering and them get vote. So all of them in a ring of brainwashing you because it benefits all of them. If she's following the international affairs of Jamaica, she down England and she follow the international affairs of Jamaica. And she cannot ask. She cannot ask Jamaicans at home. Demand real engagement from your leaders. They're not engaging with you. They're very distant from you. They don't talk to you till they want your vote. They don't care about you until they want your vote. Demand that from them. Demand good governance from them. Widely across the world, Jamaica is seen as being too corrupt. Jamaica is seen as a crime prevalent zone. Demand good governance. Why can Father Ken not say this? Why is Father Ken continuing leading the people in the dark? Is Father Ken afraid to preach against corrupt leaders? Or is it Father Ken? The principalities and power them. Where some people don't think say, we're in a high and mighty and dark and devious place, Father Ken. You would have people believe, say, involved in your organization. Gary Birmingham, good evening and welcome. Would you have people believe, Father Ken, that the wickedness in high and mighty places is not involved in your organization? Father Kenneth Richards, the thief, the criminal, the land thief, the one who stole Father Albert's asset? Is it that why you cannot preach against the government? You can't preach against wicked politicians? You cannot educate the people, Father Ken? You should be ashamed of yourself. For a bishop to come from England and to be saying to your people, Father Ken, when you are on the ground, demand real engagement from your leaders. Demand accountability from your leaders. And dear old Father Ken don't say nothing. Nothing at all Ken sees. That tells us, people, everybody on the international scene have their eyes fixed on the grubby, crooked politics that our politicians play throughout our country. Hold on, let me just look for Delroy Chuck lies. I'm just looking for the Chuck lies. Right. Delroy Chuck said the ECJ can manage the double role. We don't feel worry. We bada nearing too much. We just a worry ourselves about nothing. Earl Jarrett saying can do the two jobs. So what are you all worried about? What are you all worried about if Earl Jarrett is saying to you all, I am capable of doing this. I have this under my belt, Earl Jarrett said. So what we don't worry about? What are you worrying about if the person I'm giving it to, my corrupt friend, he's willing to take it on? So I really don't see what you all worrying about. But the Gleaner editorial is saying the thing is still toothless, Mr. Chuck. Toothless. The dog just a bark because you pull out all them teeth. Let him loose off of the chain. And then all he can do is run around and make noise because there is no teeth. Dog can't bite. That them I say, dog can't bite. I'm gonna hold on. Let me go back to, before me go to Delroy Chuck. Because God knows I'm in a reading mode tonight because I've been reading all day. But I have the link in the description area. So you can read for yourself. But hold on. Let me remind you all of what Cliff said today.
They're going to be investigating. Investigate my foot? Huh? They're going to be investigating. They can't investigate themselves. That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself. And you hear any outcry, you see any real definitive action from the the Minister of Local Government and the Ministry of Local Government or the Office of the Prime Minister to deal with this matter that has been laid bare by the Integrity Commission and now the ODPP, the DPP's office? Nothing. Yes? Mayor Williams and his crew in Kingston. Yeah? Why should they be returned when the elections are held? They should be booted. Yeah? They can't maintain their own patch. Yeah? Look at what's happening with the KSAMC and building approvals. A lot of people benefit from the chaos and the corruption, the under the table thing. Yes. And I see where the Delroy Williams-led Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation issued a statement saying that they're going to be investigating and doing their own review of what the Integrity Commission and the DPP have found in relation to the Barnett matter. Now you tell me, the KSAMC is the problem, is part of the problem with NEPA. How are they going to investigate themselves? Nothing is going to come of it. And it wouldn't be the first time that they say that they are doing reviews and investigations and nothing will come of it. You look at the state of town centers and you see that the local authorities are not working.
If Cliffview's fed up, the entire country fed up. Before me play Andrew something, me miss something what me did do earlier. Call the pretty criminal, Mrs. Anushka Bunting. Call the pretty criminal. We have more questions. Because Andrew said we are social media circus. So call Mrs. Anushka Bunting, the pretty-faced, cold-heart criminal, in front of the circus. Call Mrs. Anushka Bunting. And for who wasn't here today, I'm responding to Dr. Little Bit of Blood interview with Shelley Coran. Dr. Little Bit of Blood placed a lot of people on the scene that we were suspecting. She placed Dr. Dawes there. I asked Dr. Dawes some questions last night. She placed Silvera's sister there. She said she was outside. I'm going to ask Silvera's sister some questions, but not tonight. But importantly, she placed Anushka Bunting there. Because we've been always told by Fitz Bailey that the wife of an influential politician of the People's National Party visited, note the word, the bloody scene. Unless Fitz Bailey a lie, not me. The wife of a permanent politician visited the bloody scene. Precious Allen, good evening and welcome. Now that we're told, Dalfi, is it Dalfi? Good evening and welcome. Yeah, Dalfi, good evening and welcome. Little Bit of Blood placed Anushka Bunting on the scene. The police said they want to question the wife of a permanent politician of the People's National Party who visited the bloody scene. My question, Mrs. Anushka Bunting, pretty-faced criminal, did you visit the bloody scene? Did you enter into the room, the matrimonial room of Melissa and Julian Silvera? Did you assist in cleaning up the blood in the matrimonial bedroom? What was the condition of the bedroom, Mrs. Bunting? Did you help to undress and redress Melissa Silvera in a way to throw the police off? Did you assist Mrs. Bunting in moving Melissa's body from the matrimonial bedroom to another room in the house? James, good evening and welcome. In order to throw the police off. And to you, Miss Little Bit of Blood, when you got there and you saw Anishka Bunting, what was Anishka Bunting's mood? Was she panicking? Was she sad? Was she cold-hearted as cleaning up her dead friend's body, covering up her dead friend's body in order to save another friend? Was she drinking? Was she smoking? Was she sniffing? Was she panicking, as normally people do when they've just committed crime? What was Anushka Bunting's role in the cover-up of Melissa Silvera's killing? And will Fitzbailey tell us if there's a cover-up investigation in the death of Melissa Silvera, and is Anishka Bunting a part of that investigation? You, Fitzbailey, said the wife of a politician visited the bloody scene. Did you, Julian Silvera's sister, were you the other party who assisted Anushka Bunting to clean up the blood, undress Melissa, redress her, and move her to another room in order to throw off the police? Fitzbailey needs to speak to us with regards to the cover-up. It couldn't be that there isn't an investigation into the cover-up of the killing of Melissa Silvera. It couldn't be that there isn't. So Peter Bunting's wife, who was on the bloody scene, and by using the matrimonial law to tie Peter Bunting to the crime scene, Peter Bunting was also there. Because in matrimonial law, Peter Bunting and Anishka Bunting are one. So therefore, even though not being there in person, Peter Bunting was on the crime scene. These are the criminals going around campaigning for your vote. Did you, Miss Little Bit of Blood, did Anushka Bunting have blood on her hands? When you saw Anishka Bunting, did Anishka Bunting had blood on her hands? She just done clean up a whole bloody scene. So you might never tell where blood spot, where fingernail them did look like. These are the pretty murderer and the thief them that is going across on a country looking for a vote. Before me go to the 1.5, 2.0, no such number confuse me. Look at your Prime Minister. This symbolizes a failed leader, does it not? But now I will pay for you 1.5 2.0.
An idea that the Jamaica Labour Party in the 2016 general election brought to the people of the country to say that those who are on the pay-as-you-earn system, that we would increase the tax threshold to $1.5 million so that those people earning $1.5 million or lower would not pay income tax. Many Jamaicans were happy for that. Many. Since then, your government has increased the average wage of persons working in the public sector by a minimum of 20%. So most people working in the public sector, on top of 1.5, they get 20% more. Some people have said that that increase has come at the expense of allowances that they used to get. The government looked at that very carefully. And your government always wants to have fairness and equity in our wage bill, what we pay the people of Jamaica. Suddenly, I hear some PNP people saying they are going to do 1.5. And I rock back in my chair and I laugh. Because if you remember, when I came out and said we're going to do 1.5, every PNP to the man come out and cuss me and say it can't happen. Then cuss me and say it's going to wreck the economy. Then cuss me and say voodoo economics, it can't work. We came in and we showed them how to do 1.5. So all of a sudden, they are converted to 1.5. All of a sudden, they're going around telling people, so then we'll do 1.5. Jamaica, you cannot listen to people who have never done it before. The way I describe them is that they are hypocrites. They are hypocrites and tricksters because they never believe in it in the first place. They criticize it and they oppose. That it is the Jamaica Labour Party that will deliver 1.5, 2.0. We will deliver the next version of 1.5. Have no fear, workers of Jamaica. It is the Jamaica Labour Party that understands how to increase your wages substantially and how to relieve you of taxes, not the PNP. Anytime you hear the PNP talk about tax, run away from them or run them away from you. Listen to me good. When the PNP took over, every year of PNP from 2012 to 2015, they put on a new tax on the people. Every year. It is the Jamaica Labour Party that reduced the tax on income by increasing the tax threshold. It is the Jamaica Labour Party that reduced GCT from 16.5 to 15%. And that benefits all Jamaicans. And it is the Jamaica Labour Party that has run the economy so well that we have not put any new taxes on the people of Jamaica for the 8 years that we have been running the
I I truly believe our political system needs some fixing. Too much you hear about corrupt politicians and nothing happen. Too much you hear about politicians who take away poor people money and none of them reach in jail. And to the young people at home or wherever you are, and to all Jamaicans, I have one question for you. Take a look at your communities. Take a look at the sliding dollar. Take a look at the failing healthcare and ask yourselves, where is the progress? Where is the progress that this arrogant and disrespectful government keeps talking about? With this existing callous government, matters have gone from bad to worse.
Baptist Muda said it best. But what I cannot explain to you or break down to you is what Andrew Holness just said. I just cannot do it because I do not understand it. And if I don't understand it, then I cannot explain it to you. But I'm going to ask for your pardon tonight, not to deal with Delroy Chuck until tomorrow. I need to read 2 long articles to you and quarrel my way through them. And I want to do it with a fresher mind because I've been reading a lot today. Because I need to go to the deception of Delroy Chuck. So that I will do in the At a Glance time slot tomorrow, man. Come ahead, feel lightheaded at the moment, and me don't want to read and quarrel at the same time with that. So, pardon me, and I will do that tomorrow. But the truth is, with regards to what Andrew just said about the 2 from worse to worse are in. The truth is, I cannot explain that to you because number in there, me don't understand it. But one thing I can guarantee you that Andrew is lying about is about the tax. Just cool, good evening and welcome. Good evening, good evening. As dunce as maybe when it come to number. And as dunce as maybe when it come to them something. And as confused as I am and unable to explain or break down to you what Andrew just said or to tear the lie apart that Andrew just said, that tonight I cannot do. I don't understand it, literally. So you have to make up for your own self what Andrew Holness was talking about, what you understand from it, and if there is any facts or truth in it. That is up to you. I cannot help you tonight. So I will retire and get some rest so my head can come back together. And then tomorrow morning, I will deal with Delroy Chuck for you because I need to read through these 2 long articles. The one written that Delroy Chuck is drawing a wool over your eye. And then there's a response from the Gleaner editorial. I will do them tomorrow morning. But Andrew's crowd around him in Clarkstown, Trelawney, doesn't seem too enthusiastic. Not at all to me. Cliff Hughes had seemed to have jumped off rail. The optics, the PRs and the lights doesn't seem to be pushing through. Doesn't seem to be pushing through anymore. I'm sorry, I cannot take any call right now because I'm going to end the show. I feel lightheaded. Isn't pushing through right now. Rosalie Ricketts, good evening and welcome. So let's see where Andrew Holness take this. And we will continue. Mary Messenger, good evening and welcome. We will continue our coverage and our commentary and our opinions throughout this election campaign. But this is where we end it this evening. We'll definitely come back to you tomorrow morning to deal with Delroy Chuck and the lies and misinformation and the control that they have taken from the people with regards to policing, parliament, and corrupt public officials. This is where Global TV ends it tonight. Thank you very much, and we will see you back here tomorrow morning for our coverage at a glance during our political campaign coverage. Thank you very much, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Oops, I was just about to run and I saw Nerissa. How are you, Nerissa? How are you doing? Keep getting better and better every day and get well soon. Thank you very much for being a great support. George Eagle, good evening and welcome. Jamaican Vlog 876. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. But please do return tomorrow morning when we will be looking at the lies and the misinformation from your Attorney General. Thank you very much and good evening.